Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Cuddle Conversations here. I'm here with Noé Khalfa, entrepreneur and thought leader. And before we get started, Noé, do you want to just say like a little bit about your work and what you do?
Yeah, well, we're here in Cuddle Conversations, which is such a beautiful invitation to take a look at some of the toxic masculinity culture, and this is something that I love that you do, Galen. And so in a parallel to that, what I do that with business, so trying to dismantle the dominator culture and bring about heart-centered entrepreneurship, which is challenging and sort of this new wave that we're riding here. But I love it, and I love the community that's building around it. So that's what I'm up to, is training the sort of next wave of heart-centered entrepreneurs.
Cool. Yeah. Well, here, so we should get like more cuddled here. Let's see. Can we do? If we go like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
That's
okay.
Nice.
It's like almost.
I like. Actually, that's really nice. Yeah.
Like that. We get the leg.
Yeah. Yeah, I got the leg here. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay.
This is nice because, this is just literally the opposite of the rough way that I was raised. But it's so nice to be held by a big, strong guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But can we still see each other, though?
I know, right? Yeah, we gotta, like...
Sort of.
Yeah. Are we still... Do we have a good camera angle there?
The camera's so important.
I know. Well, we gotta make sure people can see us. So, yeah, it's amazing. I'm just noticing how this is for me, just cuddling you right now. Before we started, I was a little bit nervous about cuddling you, just because it is an intimate thing, and even though I've done so much work around my homophobia or like culturally imposed thoughts of whatever that stuff is.
Yep.
And I've done a lot of work about that, but still, I was like, okay, this will be my first, cuddle conversation with a guy friend of mine, and I noticed some nervousness around it.
Thanks for speaking to that. I also noticed that.
Yeah.
After
you noticed my nervousness.
You were so awkward. No, I noticed my nervousness.
Yeah.
In that, after several years of really doing a lot of work about internalized homophobia, still nervous.
Yeah.
And the social story of that, and like what will people think, and here we are,
right?
So here it goes.
Okay, so this we should maybe categorize, because I feel it's relevant. I do identify as heterosexual. Is that how you identify as well?
Yeah, identify as heterosexual.
Yeah. And we both have girlfriends. And
I think is interesting to say. Yeah,
because it's I think there's this one of the things I've seen in society is this sort of perception that like if you touch a guy that's gay, or something, or whatever, that like you'll become gay. But, like,
one touch.
One touch, then you'll become gay, and it'll be awful.
I know.
Right?
I know.
Or something like, how does that even work? It's not. I don't think it's like a well thought out philosophy of how male on male contact works. It's like because if it's that easy to turn you gay, then maybe you're like already like maybe you might just be a little bit gay, and then why would it be a bad thing? And
well, I mean, that brings back like one of my earlier memories of it not being okay. Is I remember in third grade. I mean, probably earlier getting the message, but I remember in third grade. Thinking a guy looked really nice and complimenting him. It's like saying, hey, I think you look really nice today. And And I remember he was like nice, but he was sort of I was more the nerdy type, and he was more the athletic type. And I had just come from England as well, so I used to live in England till I was in, I don't know, second grade or something like that, and came over.
And you don't have the accent?
I know, it's horrible. I don't have the accent.
But can you like make it?
All right. While I'm telling the story, I'll bring the accent back.
Bring the accent back a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so do you mind if I bring the English accent a little bit?
Please do.
We
Yeah.
both do a little bit of English accent.
British,
yours is probably a little bit better than mine.
I don't know. I think yours is great. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
So I go up to him and I say, Andrew, I think you look pretty good today. Mm-hmm. And I remember he kind of takes me over to the side and says, no, you can't say that. You can't say that to another guy. Don't say that to me. Something like that. I don't remember what else he said, but I remember, like, what did I say that was wrong? Like, isn't it really nice to say, you look nice?
Yeah.
What was wrong about that? I tried to figure it out. Then I started to realize that it was all about this competition thing. Like, the guys are, you try to get better at sports so that girls will notice you and try to, stand out and catch the baseball in some dramatic way to get noticed. And that was my first, like, my earliest that I can remember now of, like, it's like somebody literally telling me it's not okay to...
So it's interesting because it sounds like there's a little bit of competition. At the same time, there's a homophobia. There's sort of a competition in hierarchy being established.
Yep, that's right.
I noticed you started to let your accent fade away.
Oh, well, I finished the story, but
okay,
I can bring it back.
We
can bring it back. You'll like the accent?
Well, if we do another one, we can do accents for the whole time.
Okay, sure. But it's... If I may keep going. I'd say maybe 2-3 years ago, I realized how... So I started doing ecstatic dance and contact dance, which... maybe some of you watching have heard of. I highly recommend it. And in our dance community, which is where we met.
Yeah.
And at some point, just being around a whole mix of folks and genders and expressions, at some point it just became glaringly obvious that I wasn't really dancing with any of the guys to me. And it just, all of a sudden I started thinking about that. And it's like, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Well, and I think it's important to point out that ecstatic dance or contact improv, it's not a traditional sort of leader follow paired dancing. Uh-huh. It's totally free form.
Right.
People just sort of like leaning up on each other and pushing and like dancing, in each other's spaces and guys and guys dance and women dance, and there's no lead and there's no follow, and there's very much just a sort of fluid exchange, or like, that sounded weird. There's not a fluid exchange on the... No, but there's like a sharing of lead roles or no lead role. And the move between that is sort of fluid in transition. That's what I mean there. That's...
Totally, right. It's like... sort of in any of the leader follow, whatever, no leader, no follow, just following the music, all that goes. Yeah. Totally.
Okay, so you noticed you weren't dancing with any guys.
Yeah, and it sort of started this, like, it was just this little, like, kind of scratch where I was like, what's going on with that? And it started to make me really look into, like, what is so scary about looking into a guy's eyes, like right now? Yeah. Being this close to another guy. And it's like, well, my girlfriends seem to love dancing with other guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? I must be missing out on something.
Yeah.
So then I started with some close friends, like, playing around, and at first it was sort of more like, oh yeah, like bros dancing together.
Yeah.
and then that started to soften over the years, and now it's one of my favorite things to do. And actually, here's something I haven't told anybody. but I'm actually now more comfortable dancing with guys because I have some social anxiety stuff around women that I'm attracted to. And so so it's actually easier for me to approach a guy, and I feel like I actually, from doing this work, I have a good way of kind of cracking through a guy's armor, which is nice now. Like I know how nourishing it feels like to get some good man touch.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I can offer that. So I feel more comfortable doing that. But yeah, so now I'm like starting to work on that social anxiety of the other direction. Yeah.
And it's funny. I definitely noticed that as well in dancing with other guys. Because I had a long background doing martial arts and a lot of judo and jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah.
And in there's a lot of, similar where in judo, you grab each other's clothes and you're sort of like swinging around, and then you might like pick another guy up and then you like pick him up and then throw him to the ground. And so for me, coming into dance and dancing with other guys, it was really interesting where I feel like I used some of the same physical vocabulary, or the same balance and the ways of lifting someone else, but instead of I would like lift them up and like instead of like slamming down to the ground, instead of slamming them down to the ground, or even more so having to worry about them slamming me down to the ground. It's just lifting each other up and kind of like spinning off and then lifting the other, and it was just like this continual flow of movement, and it opened up this whole other area of movement where I could turn and I could have my neck exposed to another man in dance, which in martial arts that's like the cardinal that you're dead. It's like you expose your neck and they're just gonna choke you out, and so it was really liberating to me, and I think that's my interactions with other men. Whenever I've had any physical touch with other men, it's been in a process of violence, and so it's been like this retraining of both my mind and muscle memory to be able to interact in a place of like collaboration and exploration and celebration.
Yeah. Well, and aren't we so trained though to see other guys as being a threat? My classic inner mental image is I'm at a bus stop, it's at night, and there's another guy there. Yeah. I'm like,
do you need to fight him?
Do I need to fight this guy? Yeah, in case he tries to. But it's why does this guy want to attack me?
Yeah.
I've never really,
right?
Until recently, never really asked that question of maybe he's thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's on his phone texting his mom or something, has zero. What is it that, it's one of those interesting empty stories that was so hammered into me.
One of the things that comes up for me too, another way of I think which a little bit less extreme, is the being in a social situation and wanting to, or not wanting to, but noticing myself competing with other men. Of who's cooler, who's better looking, who's the cool guy in this party. And it's almost well, for me, I experienced, as a kid being kind of picked on and beat up and bullied. And that was me being put at the bottom of the social hierarchy. And so there's this sort of my gut reaction is to want to work my way up the social hierarchy. Whenever I'm in a situation with other guys, I want to go, okay, how do I increase my social standing in this group of people, guys and women. But it's a disconnecting energy. It's still, there's still this sort of almost violence to it in who's cooler, who's better,
right? And that's interesting. If you're the funniest one, you better keep churning out jokes.
Yeah. And because then I get the validation and I get the respect and admiration and.
Yeah, I can see that disconnect.
I perceive myself to get the most. From my subconscious teenage mind, right? Whereas especially in our community that we're in, like people who try to get more respect and admiration are actually sort of loathed, I feel like. It's like, that guy, you know, as opposed to when just being chill and like connecting with someone one-on-one and people are like, oh yeah, I had such a great connection with that person.
Totally. Because I think a lot of us in this community, we're like sort of coming back with sort of traumatized from that world, and then we're coming into this new place like, is it okay? Is it actually okay just to be ourselves? Like, really, actually, really. Because they say it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not quite enough to make it feel really okay. Is it actually okay? But that's what I love about the work that you're doing. It's like, it's literally like all about that. Like, I remember having early conversations with you about how do you get through to guys who maybe think like, I need to date more, or you know, I need to get more pickup lines or something, you know, like I need to super increase my social standing.
Get bigger biceps, you know, because once I have these big biceps,
that's right,
all the women will want me.
Oh, they love your biceps.
Yeah.
He's got pretty big biceps, yeah. Do you love him more? That's a good question.
Do you love me less? Anyway, I'm distracted.
And now I'm just so distracted by your biceps. That's what it does. The biceps just distract. I think you're talking about the work that you were doing. And, oh, right. Like, right. How do we get through to guys who are coming in with that?
Yeah.
But what's actually needed is this powerful moment of being real. Like, if they can be real with someone, it invites that person to be real with them.
Yeah.
And that's the connection that I think the guys are craving. And like,
yeah, I think that's what all people are craving, is getting through the bullshit and being real with each other. And I think for guys especially, we lack human touch and connection. So I was mentioning earlier is that it's like all touch with women is sexualized, and all touch with with men is stigmatized as gay, and as if that's a bad thing, and just our physical biology, we're just not getting the needs met for a human creature in this world, where just biologists will tell you like humans need contact with other humans. And in other cultures, you see like humans touching a lot more. But in American society, we're so isolated, and I don't know exactly where that comes from. But I think the impacts of that are like that can have. Like I just like touched his hand here. I'm like, and there that again
really
was
nice.
Yeah, it was an edge for me, as it feels really intimate. But I think the impacts of that, like, you know, we talk about the consent conversation. And there's a lot of issues going into that. I mean, you look at it like an Aziz Ansari situation where where for a lot of people, it's not clear what the issue is or like what's wrong. And I think that there's guys get in the situation and they're so starved for any kind of physical affection. And it's like, you know, that date or that time, it's like they finally get a chance for the physical connection, and there's just so much pressure on that.
Right.
Whereas,
it's the one and only time.
Whereas, like, if we can just create a culture where, like, guy friends and girlfriends, we can hug each other and we can cuddle and we can hang out, it's just so nurturing. Like, it's what's been great for me as a solopreneur with a friend of mine. We've been taking cuddle breaks, so we'll like do like 20-minute interval, as you taught me, 20-minute interval of working. 5-minute interval of break. This is good stuff. 5-minute break. So we'll do like a 20-minute interval of working, and then we'll cuddle for like 5, sometimes 10, you know, or 30 minutes. And No, we set a time. Usually not more than 10. Yeah. And that's like my most productive days. Holy shit, dude! When I get like a solid block of work and then some cuddle time, I'm just on fire.
Well, actually, I would connect that back to something that I think the last Cuddle conversation with Lisa, or one of the past ones, Oxytocin was the like keyword that jumped out at me, and I think that makes sense to me because the days that I don't have any kind of touch or any kind of grounding, I start out the day, I'm working, and my nervous system starts to get more agitated, and there's more pressure, and there's more deadlines, and there's more things I have to do, and it's getting more tense, and then I crash.
Yeah.
But to have those in-between moments of touch, which I think touch is like having somebody else touch is even more than like a cup of tea. Because a cup of tea can't touch me. I mean, I can touch it. There's something in there. Yeah. So that's huge. But also something that came up as you were speaking was, it's like, why are we so afraid of this kind of touch and like being this close? What like a thought that occurred to me here, and also when watching one of your other Cuddle Conversations was, I like, had this thought a couple times. I was like, oh, are you gonna kiss them? And just thinking about that now, I'm like, oh, that's like a boundaries thing. And so it seems like there's like
if people are this close, it means that they're gonna kiss.
They can't resist kissing, or like I won't be able to hold myself back, or you're just gonna like cross my boundary or something like that. Whereas actually right now I feel really safe and we have clear boundaries, and like I don't feel like that's gonna happen. Yeah. There's something in there of like a fear of that, so then I might as well just not even get close. Yeah. Because then that could happen, and it's safer out here. I can control my own boundaries out here. And as an introvert, that's like often the decision I make, even with like oh, I know there's this talkative person over there, and rather than having a 5-second conversation, which might turn into half an hour, I would have no conversation, even though my preference might be like, oh, I actually want to spend like 2 minutes talking to them. Yeah. Same with touch. Like, I want some touch, but I don't want to kiss you. Yeah. And pulling myself out of that, now I got nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing you say that about like the Cuddle Conversation, like, and especially because so far it's been with nothing but really beautiful women, and it's felt important for me to normalize, like to have just a really valuable interaction with a beautiful woman with a person. With a beautiful person where it's not sexualized, like where we don't have to worry about that. Right. And I think that's one thing where there's awesome people in my life who I don't want to date. Right? There's women in my life who I'm attracted to and I don't want to date. Right?
As a heterosexual man.
Yeah, as a heterosexual man. I don't want to date these women. And holy shit, I love cuddling them. Like it's so nice to have closeness, and I feel so nourished, and so I feel so lucky to have friendships where that can include that.
Same. Yeah.
Can we just just take a few breaths here, like with some eye contact? Yeah, that sounds good. All right, so breathing in. What are you feeling right now? What do you notice?
A deeper level of relaxed. Like I just came from teaching a yoga class. I was teaching breathing for an hour. And now I feel like I'm actually breathing. But like even more. Yeah. Looking at you. Real presence. Feel your presence. Feel my presence. I'm
noticing like a feeling, like an embodied feeling of appreciation, like that like, you know, like the feeling when you get a gift, it's sort of like, oh, that's so nice, and it's like, oh, you know, oh, that's so sweet, and I'm like, even though like no one's like given me a gift per se, I just have that feeling of just appreciation.
Yeah.
And I'm noticing something that came up for me in one of the last men's groups that I had, where I invited men to just make eye contact for a few moments, and I was making eye contact with the men, and I'm noticing the same thing here. Is just noticing your beauty, which is there's an edge there for me to just say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I resonate with that, and it's funny, as you were saying that, I was about to jump in with saying pretty much the same thing, but like the way I was going to say it is like in a face, like I'm so used to being this close to female faces, female identified faces, and usually there's less facial hair here, but like your eyes, there's not much difference between eyes, and besides just the personal difference. And so, like, you have very beautiful eyes, and it's like
you have really nice eyelashes. Your eyelashes are really long. Yeah, I think it's something we both.
Yeah, you got beautiful eyelashes. Yeah.
Women are always like, "Kalen, your eyelashes are so long and pretty." You know?
Eyelash club. Yeah. But yeah, there's like, oh, you have such a beautiful face and presence. Yeah. Thanks for inviting that.
Thank you. Let's see, how are we doing?
How are we doing on
time? Oh my god, it's 27 minutes.
Oh shit.
So wow, yeah, time flies. We should probably wrap this one up. If anyone's still watching here till the end, like, you know, thank you for sharing this time with us.
Yeah.
And yeah, with any of these Cuddle Conversations, I'd love to hear your comments. If you think, if you like what we're doing, please share it and get it out there.
This is important work.
Yeah, again, Noé Khalfa, heart-centered entrepreneurship.
Yep, worththejourney.com if that
we'll post
something.
it in the comments.
Yep. Yeah, and then Galen's got tons of events coming up, lots of ways to connect, both with other men, with mixed groups.
Yeah,
such good work. Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Galen.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
There we go.